there, welcome back. This is the final video of the week. I'm doing one that was covered by Daisuke Beppu in one of his live streams. I was unique in this one, I wasn't a big fan of the film, so it's 12 Angry Men. Even though I wasn't a fan of the film, actually the discussion made me buy the Blu-ray of it. So it's a good discussion, it got me buying the Blu-ray. So I think I'll talk about it. I'll talk about the Blu-ray first. It's a nice little Blu-ray. You get in Britain, you get a nice booklet with essays. So you get all the Angry Men. So you get Lumet's Faces by Jonathan Rosenbaum, and you get the photos of all these pictures of all these men in the film, and the in the booklet, and they're all on the cover as well, so there's not one standing out among them, even though Henry Fonda is the one different colour because he's the odd man out. And the Blu-ray, it's a very good print. You also get the original teleplay of 12 Angry Men. You get what else you get? You get a history, someone talking about the history of it going from the teleplay to the film. You get some interview excerpts about Sidney Lumet, him talking about his career, then talking about his career as well. You get another play he directed on TV called Tragedy in a Small Temporary Town, written by the same writer as 12 Angry Men, which I haven't watched yet. And you also get John Bailey talking about the cinematographer Boris Kaufman, who had a very interesting life, because he used to be director of photography for Jean Vigo, and he did stuff like Kazan, and he was because he was born in, I think it was Poland, ended up moving to France pretty quickly after the Soviets took over, and the Soviet bloc started to grow. I can't quite remember the exact details, but he had to go from Russia, I think it was in the Russian-Poland border, I don't know exactly the details. I had to go to France, so he was always temporary wherever he went, so he had to go from France. Then when the Nazis grew, he had to go to Canada. Then he went from Canada to New York. And once he got to New York, he stayed in New York and just shot films in New York. He didn't move anywhere else. He was sick of moving. So it's a very good 40-minute interview all about him and all about his techniques and his. So John Bailey's obviously, because he's a DP, did some Paul Schrader films like Mishima and Cat People. So he was a big fan of this DP. So he was talking about him quite a bit. So yeah, it's a very good package. It's one of those ones you can always find it for a tenner on eBay. So it's never expensive if you look around. It's really worthwhile buying because it is a very good package. You get a very good print, you get 2 teleplays and some nice documentaries. So it's very good. The film itself is a weird one for me. I think the problem I have with it is not to do with the acting or the direction. The acting's terrific, it's very colourful. People know their parts very well and can do little things with it to bring it out and make everything clear. It's been very well rehearsed, so even the kind of performers who might not be as good as some of the other ones, they get their time and they do some good job. And the performers like Henry Fonda, Jack Warden, LG Cobb, they all have their moments, they're all given space to do them, but they're also part of the ensemble. So the acting is terrific throughout. The direction is terrific. There's lots of like wide shots to start with, and it gets closer and closer as the film goes on. It's very well planned out, and John Bailey points out it's very stylistically similar to what Boris Kaufman was doing at the time with lighting and camera techniques rather than what Sidney Lumet would do later. And so, but it's wonderfully shot, it's wonderfully directed. It's one of Lumet's best directed films because he's got a point of view, he's got a dramatic piece, so he knows what he's doing. The same way someone like Network worked well for him or Dog Day Afternoon, he had a good bit of writing to work with, so he could focus on that without distraction, and he just did great jobs. Other times you'd get something like The Wiz or something, or some of his 80s films where there weren't very good scripts and he just was sort of trying his best with material that wasn't that great. I mean, Lumet was almost like a more acclaimed version of John Frankenheimer. John Frankenheimer was more of a genre director than Sidney Lumet was. Sidney Lumet was a bit more classic material, really, for his big films. But both started out in television, both were directing the same playwrights a lot of the time. Like Rod Serling, Reginald Rose, all that. They both started out the same period. One, Frankenheimer was more genre based, Lumet was more drama based, but they both had the same strengths and weaknesses. Basically, both could really shoot terrific sequences. Even in bad films, there's going to be an odd scene or two which is really good because they've got good craftsmanship. But they were really dependent on scripts. They couldn't really self-generate scripts. They had to rely on scripts coming in. They didn't really have that. Once they saw good material, if it really engaged them, they could really shape it to be something really fascinating. But they didn't have that thing that Kubrick had, where Kubrick could go from genre to genre, find a story, and work on it slowly but surely until you found what was interesting on it. They were much faster directors, so we go from film to film to film. And I think sometimes there was less thought put into the film, and there was much more like, this is material that can work, I'll do that. And so sometimes the career became very bitty, like, this is great, this is not so good, even within a film. So it was always like, you never quite knew what you were getting, because you could get some really good stuff from Lumet or Frankenheimer, you could get some really tacky stuff too. The quality control was not always the best, but when they delivered, they could really deliver. So even both of them, even later on in their careers after they'd done some bombs, they could still deliver something really good if they found the right material. So it's one of those things, a director's career. I think if you're not a writer, you're just a director who adapts other people's work, you're very reliant on that, and it can become a problem. And the other opposite way, sometimes our director is also a writer, sometimes he's stuck into his own headspace too much and doesn't vary it too much. Someone like Lumet tries to vary, and he kind of gets in his own way sometimes by picking projects that seem to have been picked because he wants to change the pace rather than it's good material. Anyway, back to 12 Angry Men, since I've gone on about Lumet a little bit. It's a very good film, and the first 2/3 are really good. It's just the final third, I think it shows there's some weakness in the material that really bugs me. Basically, I think that the whole idea was good, that you have a lone juror who thinks the person might be innocent because there's some stuff in the testimony that doesn't jive, so you have a reasonable doubt about what's going on. And you think that the defending attorney wasn't good and didn't bring this stuff up, but he should have. Especially since this is a case where if the guy's found guilty, he's getting death penalty. But there's not enough evidence to say he's obviously innocent. It's sort of in between. And most of the people in the courtroom believe the prosecutor saying, no, he's definitely guilty. It's an open shut case. They've swallowed that hook, line, sinker. And Terry Fonda says, no, that's not the case. That's what's good about it, showing you how the justice system can, because it's just one case, how misuse of the justice system can work. Basically, like, if there's a good prosecutor, weak defence, someone who's innocent can go to jail because the jury might not look into it as well as they should have. Even though they had all the evidence, they might just have already made up their mind before they get to the jury room and say, okay, this is obviously what happened. So that's why it was good, it's showing you that there is reasonable doubt, and the whole idea of guilty, not guilty is not guilty as there's reasonable doubt, and how that can be ignored if you've got a bad jury. Because if there's such a thing as a bad jury, I mean, everyone assumes that all the juries are good, but really in human nature, it could be bad. Your luck could be out if you get a bad jury, if you're in trouble. That's what's really good about it. It's the whole idea of someone having to fight against other people who believe the guy's guilty. That's terrific. And also, as good as how he slowly works on them to make people think, oh, there is reasonable doubt, but here, here, and here, this is what I think might be the area that's kind of very kind of unsure about. That's what's wonderful. So that's the first half of the film. It's terrific. Then at a certain point, as we're going towards where like half of them have wavered, there's like, okay, there's reasonable doubt here. Then the film has to go to prove that there's reasonable doubt to everybody in the juror. I don't buy it. I don't think it works dramatically, because I think there's certain people in that jury who would not say, would stick to he's guilty. And it suddenly takes on theatrical melodrama to get across the line so everyone says he's not guilty. I don't buy it like, at all. I just don't. There's a few there that I don't. It becomes a thing where you see procedurals later on, where they start to have evidence which feels realistic and feels normal. Like, yeah, I can see that happening. To stuff that becomes like force for the drama so you can get to the place you want to go to. Like, a big hurting point in this one is someone who was a witness may have had glasses, but she didn't wear glasses in the courtroom, but she had the signs of the glasses with the marks you'd have here. Now, that could seem reasonable, but I don't buy that enough people would notice that in a jury to actually make it important. So you'd say, okay, she's got glasses. Then you still don't know, is she long-sighted or short-sighted? And it becomes like conjecture in a way that I don't think works as drama. And this film says, yeah, it's important as drama, and it's like, that feels forced. That feels forced to me, and it's a way that I think they're trying to get to the point of this guy being not guilty. And I think a much more dramatic, interesting thing would be hung jury. If it's a hung jury, it shows how complicated the system is, and I think it would be much more powerful. In this way, it makes it easier to go home and say, oh, the American system still works. Here was one guy who saw through the problems and he saved the kid's life. And I don't think it works that way. I think it's, if it was a hung jury, it would be haunting. You'd remember that. It's like, oh, this is dangerous. This is how scary the justice system is. Now it's just like, oh, that was a close call. Like, a kid almost got it. I don't think that's as satisfying to me. A lot of people love that about it, that the turns and all the rest, and they buy it and it's fine. For them, that's very satisfying. For me, it's just not. It just doesn't work for me. It's just unnecessary, and it just becomes annoying. And it makes the Henry Fonda character go from being reasonable doubt to being feeling a little smug, as all these people who hated him turn to his side. Because a lot of people love Fonda. I'm not a massive Fonda fan. I prefer Fonda when he's working for Sergio Leone. But he's a good actor. But he's not one of my favourites, really. And from that period, he's just not. I'd much rather Robert Mitchum or James Stewart or Cary Grant. They're more, to me, more interesting actors. But in this one, when he turns the jury, he starts to feel smug, and it's annoying to me. I just feel it in my bones as I watch it. It just feels like you're pushing it too far. In LG Cobb, or J. Lee Cobb, sorry, he is, I don't think he'll ever change his mind. There's a whole bit where they're showing you that he's doing it because he's a problem with his son, and that's why he wants to get his anger out on somebody else. If that was the actual case, he would not turn. I don't think he would turn. I think he'd be stubborn to the end. Or he would have turned earlier if he'd realised he was doing that, and if someone brought it up earlier. Either way, the way they do it here is to have a big dramatic moment where he realises, oh, not guilty, I'm bringing my own bias to it. And it just feels staged and overly dramatic, and it's not to do with the court case anymore in a way that the rest of the teleplay in the film is. And I just feel it's another film dragging into this one, and it's not been given enough force to either work, or it's not been given enough intellect to make it relevant to the case, to make it as relevant to actually how scary that is if someone could go that far. It's not pushed enough how how enraging some of these people could be who are making decisions for something else. It's done too quickly for it to have any impact for me, and I just feel it pushes the drama to being something that is unsatisfying, which is, oh, he's not guilty, so we don't have to think about it too much. Oh, look, justice was done. I don't think justice is done in many court cases. I think a lot of court cases are a bit messy. I think justice is done when it's obvious if someone's really guilty. Like, there's evidence everywhere. I think everywhere else, it's just up to luck, because we've seen lots of cases of someone going to jail and they were not guilty. It's just luck a lot of the time. I think this film was made at a time when people wanted to believe in the justice system and they weren't open to doubt. The way that something like in the 70s where Lumet did Network or Dog Day Afternoon, which were more ambiguous films, this film needs some of that ambiguity because it feels too much like a play that's making you feel but not being as critical as it needs to be at the end. Because it just needs, I just think it needs a hung jury, because I don't think this situation would have gotten to not guilty. I just don't see it happening. I don't think there's enough evidence to go to the not guilty verdict for everybody. I think the dramatisations of it were a bit forced to get to that at the end. So basically the first 2/3 are really strong and really work, just showing the doubt. Because the acting's so good, the dialogue's terrific, everyone's on their game, it's been rehearsed so well that all the actors know their parts. It's all wonderfully done, and then the last third that kind of just starts to unwind for me and just becomes like a TV show. A really well done TV show, but a TV show. So that's my problem with 12 Angry Men. I still have the Blu-ray Criterion, so obviously there's a lot of it I like. It's really well acted, really well written for the most part. The direction's terrific. But that last third just, I cannot get beyond it. It's just aggravating to me. But it's highly recommended film still. It's just, I don't think it's as good as Network or Dog Day Afternoon. You know, I just don't see it in that league, really. So, it's just my opinion. Take it as you want. So anyway, that's my last video of the week. Again, go and see, where is it here? Ronan Nazarene Talks for our first episode, which I also did the week of filming this stuff. Again, technical issues will be fixed hopefully by the time the next one comes round. We're working on it. So I hope you enjoy these videos, and I'll speak to you next week. Right, bye.